Hey everybody. I can't believe it. I was talking about the lightning effects that I was making in the game, and then my power went out because of the storm outside. Is insane. Annoyance member for 18 months. Welcome to the stream. Thank you so much for your support, dude. And during this, he plugged the cord back in. Hey, Warfox. Hey, Willitronics. Okay, so do you remember me, Mr. Max Mondays? I like to think that I can remember every cat head I've ever seen. I kind of. I might. Is there. Well, what do I know you from, Cathead? Tell me. But I'm actually pretty excited to get back into the video. I wanna finish talking about this. And then I also really want to get into the Minecraft worlds and be able to show you guys all this stuff behind the scenes. Like, we were talking earlier about these candles right here and how they're display entities, and yet they emit particles, and like there's so many little cool things I can't wait to show you. I was here on the Axiom mod stream thing. Yes, I had quite a few Axiom mod stream things. I mean, today is kind of going to be an Axiom mod stream. Oh, the first one, that was so fun. I remember when I first discovered Axiom. What a blast. Alright, I'm gonna pop open the video and I'm gonna get going. I'm also going to really quickly message my Discord just in the normal chatter. We are up and running again. Smiley face. Cool. Alright, let's get to it. Let's get to it. Alright, so I need to switch to my... Oh, don't worry, I'm here. Thank you. I'm so excited, Excalibur. We are so back. We are indeed, Cornbob. We are indeed. I hope you're doing well, Cornbob. Very awesome. Here we are. Can you guys hear the video? Z-fighting hasn't really been an issue with what we made here today, but I imagine it's gonna... I went back a little bit to make sure that we didn't miss anything too incredible. Also, I really love that potion and that potted plant. The new potion colors are so cool. That's a speed potion and it's so vibrant. Holy volume, is it really loud? Am I really loud, or is the be a pain in the tushy when we get around to making the paint? Is that loud? Okay. Testing. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Greeting, but only one. I'm too lazy to give more than one greeting. Sorry. Thank you, Andy. I'm gonna give you heh, which is the beginning of hello. I'm far too tired to finish the word. It is a bit loud. Okay, let's test it again. Anyway, Z-fighting. Really been an issue with what we made here today, but I imagine it's gonna be a pain in the tushy when we get around to making the painting. How are we feeling? Cool. Great. Let's continue. Oh yeah, I'll finish what I was talking about earlier. This shot was really fun because I took a flashback recording of it, and then I took a screenshot of the beginning of the flashback, and I edited the screenshots to be just like really high exposure, really high brightness, and I just layered that over the top of this normal flashback track, and it just made it look like lightning. It was really funny. Pain in the tushy made me laugh. I'm glad. Do you think it would be more interesting if I was watching this in my video editor so we could, like, I could show you the different tracks and different layers and stuff? 1 in the chat if that sounds like a good idea. 0 in the chat if that sounds like a bad idea. And then I shall continue. What does tushy mean? It's just another way of saying you're, like, glutes. 2 doesn't make any sense. People are saying 1? Okay, cool. Then I'm really glad I added a way to go back to this. And now let me boot up my editor. Boom, 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 boom. Cool. It'll only take a second. Do you guys like this little starting soon screen I made? I'm probably gonna make another one and make it a little different. But I really like this one. And I'm also gonna figure out how to get the chat overlay again, because that was pretty cool. Love it. Thank you, Corn Bob. I thought you would enjoy it. What editor do I use? I use DaVinci Resolve, which is my editing software of choice. Alright, so if I'm gonna find where we were. in the video, and then I'll really quickly swap it over. That painting is what just happened, right? Let's see. Z fighting. I got to the Z fighting part. There we go. I found the lightning. Cool. All right. Control Shift L. Cool. Now we can see this, right? Very cool. Very fun. Full screen even. Very well done. At the stream starting soon, a little sighing instead of just some text. That's what I was gonna do. Yeah, I was gonna add a display entity of like, you can add like text entities, and I was gonna make one that's floating there. Yeah. Finally made it back to stream. Hey, Ecologite, Ecologite. I don't know. One of those. Hello, welcome. Here we go. Oh, I just realized that the way I have this set up. Here, I have to really quickly add a audio input, audio application, audio capture, okay, window, resolve, okay, so tell me if you guys can hear this. Yeah, there we go, cool, you guys can, awesome. Wisdom tooth.
Anyways, Z fighting. There are two fixes to this I found, and one's significantly lamer than the other.
I'm saying a lot of words, but they're not making sense, are they? I'm so sorry. I'm like thinking while I'm trying to talk, and it's so hard to do both those at the same time. I'm so sorry, Athalicious. But welcome to the stream, by the way. I didn't see you earlier. It's good to see you, man.
If we do layer two textures together, the Z fighting is a lot less noticeable the more similar the two textures are. Meaning, if we have two sandstone textures layered on top of each other, it'll be tame compared to two wildly separate textures. So tame.
I only really realized that after I discovered an instance of Z fighting in one of my builds, and it was like so hard to see because the textures were so similar. It was like two stone textures, and it was impossible to see.
In fact,
and I only saw it like afterwards in my editor, after I like had rendered the scene entirely. I saw that there was Z fighting in the corner. It was in the lounge scene, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't believe it. It took me so much time to fix that.
But I think you can get away with quote-unquote visible Z fighting in some niche cases where you may otherwise have a more noticeable instance. But in the event of a more...
It's really funny to see how many comments are saying like, hey, where's this song from? Like, it's really cool. Like, what's the name of this song? And it's like, oh, I made it. I made that tune. It's
noticeable
really nice.
Instance.
It's made like completely out of Minecraft samples. It's pretty cool.
I said stop it. I said stop. Stop worrying.
Stop. See, sizing a display naturally changes it in increments of
0.063 meters, but holding shift and sizing a gizmo results in minuscule change.
I do have like one small critique about Axiom itself with this this function. It is a little difficult if your player is flying and you want to do these minuscule changes. You have to shift midair, so you have to like also fly. You have to like press spacebar and shift at the same time. It's a little odd, little funky, but it's not a big deal.
So if we have Z fighting between two textures and just
is any of your music available to stream? Not currently. Maybe one day I'll make a Mr. Max Monday Spotify, huh? That'd be kind of cool. Mr. Max Mondays makes music.
Size one of the entities by a trillionth of an inch, then ta-da, a little janky of a fix, but trust me, it saved me a lot of time when creating Actually, you know what? I think it's time to get started on that.
Oh, I'm so excited for this shot. It's so funny, like that door sound effect, you can't get sounds, or at least I haven't figured out a way to do it. You can't get sounds inside a flashback recording, so I have to add all of those door sound effects in post. And also this song, this little 3/4 song playing in the background, was a pain in the butt to make, even though it sounds so simple. Like the timing, I wanted it to fade out just as, you know, the twist happens, and it like was just a pain to get that timing right. Oh, and a really fun trivia fact, the very first shot that I ever worked on for this video was this one, right here, this entire display. But originally, the plan was my character was going to go up this ladder, grab this book, come back down, And then I was going to do a little editing magic to make it look like when you put the book down, the scene was there, and it would, like, zoom into the book. But then I was like, that's a lot of effort. And I didn't do that. You can also see, like, I was learning how display entities worked and stuff. Like, this is an item entity over an actual candle so that the flame is visible. And, like, in the background here, you'll see that I layered candles, but I was, like, not using actual block models. I was just doing a lot of weird little stuffs, you know? And, oh, this is another fun fact. This bookshelf used to be full. This shot took me 3 takes, and that was the 3rd book I grabbed. That's a funny fact.
I have here a brief of what I'd like to display as a painting here today. Essentially,
one of these days I'm going to figure out how to remove this text. I really like knowing what the FOV is. I wish it, like, popped up in the corner or something, but kind of annoys me. That's the only thing that annoys me. Also, look, candles inside the bookshelf.
I want to build an interpretation of a quirky yet sturdy wizard's carriage. Pause the video if you'd like to read this more detailed explanation, and yes, there will be a test, but I suppose that, our build needs a background.
Alright, lot to talk about there. I had to let that shot play first. So, really interesting stuff. Dude, lol, hi dumpster hire. Welcome, Zoid. Looks cozy. Hi, I am not real. Welcome to the stream. Thank you. Yeah, I really loved this build. It was really fun to work on. What zoom mod do I use? I think Tweakaroo. Working on projects like this, you really have stuff to talk about to people who will listen to it. It's really fun to finally say, honestly, Aman. Yeah, totally. I have had so much, like, energy just because I need to tell someone about all the little decisions I made. So I want to, like, talk about, like, where the jump cut was and everything.
Have here a brief.
Obviously, there was one. Fun fact, that's a shield with, like, a golden hoe in it. Kind of cool. If you also look right there, there's a pile of yellow wool. Another instance of that. I think there's, like, 3 instances of piles of yellow wool in this video. And this sconce right here was actually a nod to the very first display entity creation I made. I made it back with commands when they first released them, and then I found that old model and I dragged it in here. That's why that one looks a little weirder than all the other ones.
What I'd like to display.
Also, like, you can see that I kind of got lazy and I just put a painting right there. I was like, I don't know what to put here. I'm just gonna plop that.
Play.
As a painting here today.
The painting.
Also, I think we should, like, read
Here
all the
today.
pages. So the jump cut is actually coming up right
Essentially,
here.
I want to build an
I put the book down,
interpretation of a.
and then watch, like, the flames here. They jump a tiny bit. As soon as I open the book, that's when the cut is. So what I did is I have 2 separate buildings, and we'll look at this in-game later. I have 2 separate buildings that are exactly 52 blocks apart. So I set the book down, and then I opened it. And then I closed the book, teleported 52 blocks, exactly 52 blocks away. Then I placed the book and then opened it in that lectern. And right when I open it, that frame is when the cut happens. So, like, I'm right now in location A.
Quirky yet sturdy.
I opened it. Right there was location B. You see? Like, if we go frame by frame, I don't even know if you'll be able to see it frame by frame, but, like, watch the candles in the top right. Right as... Yeah, you see that? See how there's the flames change? I couldn't get those particles to align. There was no way I was going to do that. So that's right where the cut is.
Yes, sturdy.
And also, what's really nice is the overlay of this book kind of makes the screen darker, which is nice because the shaders I'm using, the sunlight from outside kind of made this room a little brighter. So the change in lighting would have been noticeable, but since the UI changes as well, it was able to cover it. Wizard's carriage.
Pause the video if you'd like to read this more detailed explanation, and yeah.
Why does it have to be 2 scenes? I'll show that actually in a second. Hold on to that thought because I can answer that. Let's go through these really quick. I'll read this out loud because, you know, why not? We're showing off little Easter eggs and stuff. This is less than a second in the video. I'll just go through it. you wouldn't even be able to tell because the flame particles cut like that already. Yeah, I that's what I relied on, is that they're already random. But that was, you have to admit, that was a little bit more of a jump than normal. The wonderful wizarding wagon, which, by the way, I did this intentionally. WWW, flip it upside down, you know. MMM, ha ha ha, you know? Hark! For I speak of none other than the wonderful wizarding wagon. Huzzah! The wind whistles softly through the grassland, and all smells faintly of cinnamon. A villager rests nearby and gazes at the massive mobile monument parked nearby. Hark! I speak of the wagon's impossible construction. The vehicle is the product of much time and effort as maintained. That was, time and effort is intentional because it was actually the product of a lot of time and effort. As maintaining its ever-expanding frame is an ever-evolving process. The pale sandy slabs of stone. Intentionally sandy slabs of stone. That's a nod to the fact that we ended up using sandstone, but originally I was planning on using stone. The original sandy slabs of stone that make up its towering body are worn with age, held together by hopes and dreams and maybe something more. Its large brass wheels hold the monolith upright, and betwixt two of the large wheels a ladder leads up to a small wooden door. Sounds like it's Tigger went crazy. Oh, that's a wonderful thing. A small post. No, a small post has been set up a few meters from one of the wheels. A clothesline stretches from the wooden support, and a soggy laundry swings from it. A cauldron full of soapy water sits nearby. It's obvious the owner of this mystic vehicle has been parked in this field for a while. And why ever not? How many acres of land stretched between him and the distant mountains that held nothing other than fields of grain? Crowned it is with sunflowers larger than any sunflower can naturally grow. Him who lives in that wagon, makes for Di Luna. Di Lune, I don't know how I want to pronounce it yet. It's giving Howl's Moving Castle. That was the largest inspiration for this this build. 1000% Athalicious Good Eye. I wish I could like this stream. What is up with that number? Also, if you're wondering why there's been so many comments that have the word vibrant in it, I have this page that I like to like make little clubs in the comments of people who are like really meticulous when they watch videos. Hey, if you read this far, you either really care about the content you consume, or you have too much time on your hands altogether. Regardless, I'm kind of impressed. Wait, kind of funny idea. Leave the word vibrant in the comment. That way I'll know if you read this far. Wink, wink, much love. And then I added this one because I know this is the page that I would be stalling on the longest, and I didn't want this page to be the one stalling on the longest. So it wasn't actually an oopsies. Held together with chewing gum and sticks. Bingo. Ghibli vid, good choice. I searched Ghibli for Minecraft and your vid came up. No kidding! That's so fun. This one or the one where I made like the Japanese tower? I would think that one might come up. Anyways, let's continue the video. And answer that question. I
Yes,
think
there will be a test, but I suppose that
here's the reason why it had to be two separate locations, because I wasn't just removing blocks and killing entities. I was also like adding some that were in like cool positions, and doing all the command block logic to make that happen would have taken simply more time than just setting up a second scene and teleporting between the two. Another funny thing to note is these are floating papers, which doesn't look out of place because all of these are floating, but that was a mistake. That was one of the first assets I ever made, and in all but exactly horizontal views, that looks like a good stack of papers. But of course, the only view that you see it in this video is the horizontal view. How long has this vid been in the works? I would say since I started like seriously working on it. Actually, people in the Discord would know better. I posted a lot of spoilers leading up to this in the Discord. Like, there's a lot of people who knew it was coming and such. It's good to see you back for this. I hope to see you streaming again. I will do. I'm looking forward to it as well. Like a while back. Yeah. I would say like 3 weeks ago I started seriously grinding on it.
Okay, here's a sketch of what we're gonna make today
This was a funny little editing error. For some reason, it's hard panned left. I don't know why that happened. Everything I've like looked at. It's once again just comes to my inexpertise of audio mixing in DaVinci Resolve. I am a wizard in FL Studio. DaVinci Resolve, I feel like a toddler playing with toys. The square goes in the square hole. And it's like, I don't know why this is hard pan left. It's patched to both left and right. I don't know why it's only on the left. But you'll see that like it fixes itself when it becomes normal speech again.
In the back of a receipt for a frozen yogurt inspired by a post that I saw on Pinterest while scrolling on my phone.
Bask in its glory. A really funny note is two funny things to note is I ordered Panda Express in. It was delicious. Thank you for asking. And the to-go box that they put my order in had this like really cool texture. It was like a neat threaded cardboard. So I took this sketch that I wrote on the receipt and I pinned it to the back of that cardboard. And that's what that weird little thread texture is. It's the back of a Panda Express box. And another funny thing to note is I said this on the first pass is I recorded the visuals for this scene separately from the audio, and I kind of just like acted on memory of how I spoke, and so that like from a post that I saw on Pinterest, when I hear those plosives and I'm like breaking the painting and placing the painting, that was just like completely by accident, and I did not mean to have it that synchronized.
Inspired by a post that I saw on Pinterest while scrolling on my phone.
That I saw on Pinterest.
Bask in its glory. It's a cute little scene.
And look, the villagers in it. I don't know if you guys like can kind of tell what you're looking at. The mountains in the background look a little weird. In person, this is actually in color. I just like edited the photo really weird. I have it pinned to my wall right now. It's really pretty. And you can't see it. That line right there actually goes to a telephone pole. Originally, there was a telephone pole here. But I ended up just putting telephone poles in the distance on the mountains, which you can see if you look really closely, and we'll take a closer look at that in the world later. Oh, my voice just cracked right there. Cave divers when they hear a voice crack. Anyways, sorry, I just accidentally yanked the cord right out of my headphones. Cool, so let's continue.
Decently extensive
Telephone line going into the clouds. It was supposed to be like coming towards the viewer, but like, yeah, I was concerned. How did you make the audio sound like it was behind the door? Throw an EQ on it, take off the high end.
We're gonna have to build an absurd amount of mountains and fields just to, you know, show off the display entities in the foreground.
I mentioned this on the first pass too, but that sound effect is literally just me making a like that growling sound and adding a distortion on it. What's an EQ? It's called an equalizer. So it's used for boosting or lowering frequencies. Essentially, if I'm talking, there's like my voice is in a spectrum. There's low ends and high ends, and I basically made it so all the high ends like that's a really high sound. I made all of those really quiet, and then I made all the low sounds, like me talking down here, and I boosted all of those, you know? So, like, you kind of make it so instead of a flat line, you kind of have, like a backslash, you know? Oh, and fun fact, this terrain generation is literally just me, like, refreshing the chunks while I have shaders on, looking out that direction. Funny thing to note, this is the second attempt at green screening in this video, and this corner right here is really interesting to note. The first one that I did had some terrible bleeding, but as my player interacts with the painting, watch that corner. It like shakes.
Well, never mind. That was way easier
so
than I
weird.
expected. Now I feel kind of...
Oh, not the Lego games? Okay, the rumble sound effect is me. I also added the Lego building sound effect. Yeah, and then also a whoa that I found, I don't know where. But the rumble is what I meant.
Silly for making a big deal about it. Alright, let's lift up the curtain a little bit.
Ugh.
This backdrop was made with the end goal
I cannot
of
wait to
using
show
it in
you
the
this
painting
in-game. It's gonna
so
be so
if
cool.
we peek past the frame itself and look at the mountain
See, you can like see the, you can barely see them, but there's like telephone poles lined up. You can't really see them in the
neighboring fields in their entirety. The
shot.
terrain
It's
is
also the compression. It's
a very
kind of messed it
large
up a little
wedge.
bit. This is a fun...
Additionally...
Oh, nope, go back.
Oh, shit.
This is a really fun shot. I did a lot of different tests when I made these fields, and I got to play a lot with a lot of different Axiom tools, and I learned a lot. And these ones, these like grape, they were supposed to be grape, like vineyard
Plots were definitely the hardest ones to make. Each one of those is like a line that I had to like plot both points. I had to like plot a point, raise it 3 blocks, plot a point, raise it 3 blocks, enter. Plot a point, raise it 3 blocks, plot a point, raise it 3 blocks, enter. I did some copy paste work, but it was really hard. It was bizarre. Additionally, I genuinely forgot how fun building terrain is with this mod. Shout out to Willitronics. His height map pack was the cornerstone of making this a quick-paced and genuinely enjoyable building experience. Isn't that such a fun shot? Like, I kind of intentionally made the mountains really flat. This is largely inspired by Yosemite National Park. It's in California, and it has these like insanely cool granite and like smooth pale stone mountains, and Half Dome is this really popular one there, and this shape right here is vaguely inspired by Half Dome. I personally didn't like the smooth mountains. It's not for everyone. It's definitely just like it's like a biome taste. Honestly, I did it pretty. I would like to think that I did it pretty accurate to the type of mountains I'm trying to make. So I like to think that you personally don't like those types of mountains and not my build. But that's what we like to call a cope. And I'm very pleased with what we concocted here. It's decently well fleshed out without.
I wanted it to be like pretty flat too, because the focus was supposed to be the wagon. That was
drawing
a little bit
too much attention away from the wagon. And
the
wagon. Creating the wagon.
So you can see here that I like originally was planning to use smooth stone, but then eventually got tired of seeing this grid. It was terrible. How do you make the snow in the mountains? So Willitronics is a great person to have here while I'm talking about this. I used one of his script brushes that changes the angles of shapes. So I like painted these mountains and smoothed them out. Used his script brush that changed the angles into different colors of wool. And then I went through and I replaced different colors of wool with different blocks. So like if it's really cool tones for flat and then really harsh tones for steep, so like red would be like, you know, vertical and blue would be flat. I would make like blue, cyan, and green all like snowy blocks, and then like the reds and oranges and yellows I made these dark blues, and then I did some other shading stuff to make this really basic highlights. Why did you remove shaders for this part? It's because for just as I was recording, I was swapping back and forth between having shaders on and off, just to kind of see how shaders were interacting with display entities versus how just the models would look naturally. There was a lot of other experiments I was doing behind the scenes. I learned a lot about display entities and took a lot of notes that I didn't include in the video. But yeah, that's mainly why I was swapping back and forth.
It was an equally enjoyable experience. And we used
I can't believe I just like only showed that for 3 frames. This was like the first like bigger step that I felt like, oh, this is going to be possible. The second I rotated these and I saw the way that they like clipped in the ground, and I knew that I could like add track marks and like all this other stuff, I was just so stoked. I was like, this is the scene that instilled me with confidence that I could make this look good.
And we used all the tricks that I mentioned earlier in this video. Overriding the brightness.
What about a nice 10? Ooh. Oh. This is what sandstone looks like at a block brightness of 10.
Fun fact, I was so cold, so unfamiliar with recording at this stage. Like I hadn't recorded anything in so long, and it felt so unfamiliar with me that I felt really weird talking to myself. So I was actually on the phone during this, and I was like, hey, do you mind if I just like kind of talk to you about what I'm making? And you can like, you don't even have to really respond. You like, I just needed it to like get through, yeah, pulled through. It was the gorgeous goth girlfriend, of course, the one that goes to a different school. She was on the phone with me, and she loves me very dearly, and we're very happy. Thank you. What is Harold's Hangout? Oh, that is my Discord channel. If you look at the description, you can see a link, and there's going to be a pretty big overhaul here soon, but I should have a spoilers channel up soon, and then that is where I will post updates of videos that I'm working on.
cold start. True. Well, we're just getting the director's cut of the video. Bingo, Dino. Imagine they just hung up on you and you didn't notice. True, yeah, you're flying. Micro adjusting planes to avoid Z. Oh, this was like my favorite shot. Like, look at that. The curve, like, originally this shot had straight stems, and I thought it was gonna be fine. I even liked it. I wanted the vertical lines. I thought that was pretty good. And then I was convinced into making a curve, and oh, I love that. The supposed goth girlfriend. Why are you saying supposed? She's definitely real. What's kind of funny is it looks like it curves back and forth, but actually curves to the right, and then it curves backwards. So we'll see that in the world later.
Fighting, grouping to avoid too much clutter.
This is another instance where I was like testing like how blocks interact when they're clipped into the ground, and this was like kind of where I started playing around more with like grouping display entities to things that aren't clipped into the ground, and yeah, a lot of basic stuff, but you know, learning steps.
Reminiscing about what could have been.
Good bit. Vertical slab, vertical stairs, really fun stuff. I wish this was in the game more than I wish this was in the game. This would have such insane implications. There are no words to describe how good this video was. Thank you, Excalibur. That's really high praise. I mean that works.
The entire
that's pretty cool. This shot is so cool. It's actually reversed. The shot is me dismantling the wagon. I made a world backup, and I ran 2 repeating command blocks. One that filled a cube underneath my feet with air for any of the real blocks in the build, and another that killed any entity that was within like 2 blocks of me. And then I just had those running, and I just slowly flew from the top bottom, focusing on like where I was going, how it would look in reverse, and I slowly dismantled all of this. And it took me 3 tries, because when I got down to the wheels, I would delete the wheels, but then I would accidentally delete some of the terrain underneath them. It took me 3 tries until I finally did it without clipping any of the terrain. I just wanted to say, love your content, keep it up. Thank you, Eagle Archer. Thank you for stopping by. That's really kind of you, man. This lighting makes the balance look perfect. That was the other thing. This shot was like, I was playing around with different daylights to kind of, you know, the shaders like interact really differently with terrain when it's different daylight hours, and I saw this one with how warm it was, and I was like, I can't not have this. This feels like one of those chilly mornings when the sun's coming up and you can see your breath, you know, like it's such a great feeling. OMG, 3 entire tries. Well, it was a lot harder than you think. I unfortunately was so confident that I could do it in the first try that every single time I failed, I had to close my Minecraft client and then open it back up. But like with the world reinstalled, I had like to delete the old world and then copy the backup again, and then I had to do that 3 times, and with how many mods I have in my mod folder, it just took forever. It was terrifying. Toasty, thank you, Adelicious, indeed. Truly scrumptious, thank you. Like, not to sound boastful, but again, I think it's really my best work, but I'm really hoping to outdo myself next time. Oh, and in this shot, it is way easier to see the telephone wires that I mentioned. You can actually see even the drapage between the two. I think these are chains, if I recall. How many mods you got? Not a lot, but they're hefty. And my computer just isn't what it used to be.
And before long, all that was left was to drag.
Like, you see some of these, like, these are all real blocks. Like, these furnaces are real blocks, and these iron bars, I believe, are real blocks. But that's why I had to run a script that killed blocks and entities.
Drag my game to my second vertical monitor.
Really quick there, I think you could see it for half a second, and we'll look at him again later. Look at that! Do you see him? And since I reversed it, look, he actually comes back from the dead. That's so sad. The reason he's there, it's a chicken without gravity. The reason he's there, of course, is because of... Where is it? There it is. Clothesline. That's an actual lead attached to the chicken. This other lead up here is gonna be connected to a boat, and I can show that later as well.
Then take that pixelated image and add it as a painting to a resource pack.
Whoa, that was a really pixelated shot. Oh my gosh, look how pixelated that shot is. Why is it like that?
As a painting.
Real blocks? What about the imposter blocks? We don't talk about them. There are no imposter blocks among us.
To a resource pack.
I think... That's another cool thing to note. Look at the order of the flowers.
To a racehorse.
Furthest back, second furthest back, third furthest back. When I started deleting these, I knew I was going to do it reversed, so I started with the tallest, went to the second tallest, and then the third tallest. And I was like, that'll be a nice way to end that time lapse.
I think it would be.
And then I just gave myself a little bit of a spyglass and went in game and zoomed in. The reason I'm using this transparent view from Vanilla Tweaks is, did anyone notice the... Harold was hungry? Chicken. Exactly. Did anyone else notice the Harold cameo in this shot?
Be a lot of fun to
Y'all see that?
replace most paintings in the game with my own creations because wow.
Oh, I have a lot to talk
really
about that window pane too. Oh no, please work. Thank you. Here, let's go back.
Resource pack. I think
Look, I zoom in here. I rehearsed where my character was going to be stepping. Oh, you got an ad? Oh, I'm so sorry. Here, actually. Everyone, I'm going to run an ad really quick just for everyone mandatorily. And it will give us 30 minutes before I have to run another one. YouTube makes it mandatory now. I'm so sorry. Alright. I know a lot of you got ad blocker, but just like, we're going to give the people who did just get sent to an ad, like a couple seconds to catch up to us. So lame. Lives in YouTube Premium, nice. YouTube Premium and ad blocker, you're like... So prepared. Alright, everyone back? Everyone good? Okay, cool. I'll show you the Herald cameo.
it would be a lot of fun
Boom.
to slowly
Right, oh wait, no, I forgot I had to press the other key. Well, where are you? There, you see that? There's a statue of Harold. Right there. Only in this shot, not in any of the others. Really quickly, and then I zoom back out. Way back. Hold on. I'll just let it happen organically now.
Resource pack. I think it would be a lot of fun to slowly replace most paintings in the game with my own creations.
Oh, I would like to talk about this as well. This was really fun. A lot of people have been commenting like it's display entities. Are you getting a lot of lag? The answer is not a lot, no. And the only time I did have like a spike of lag was when I was making these glass panes. I didn't really know the dimensions really well, and I made several copies of just like hundreds and hundreds of glass panes in a giant cube, or in a giant plane, I guess. And when I loaded the entities, I like lost a frame or two for literally less than a second, and then after they were loaded, they worked totally fine. So that's like the only instance where I had a little bit of lag. But this was also a suggestion from my gorgeous goth girlfriend, of course, and no one else, of course, to make the window purple related, and I think that's just because a very good idea. Oh, these sunflowers are so cool. I used drip leaf stem blocks for the stems, but then I bunched up 3 buttons at the top for every single one, and that kind of created a little bit more of a structure, you know? Axiom uses display entities for placement previews and some other things, and it doesn't lag at all. I know, right? It's insane. Well, only in builder mode.
I really love what we've made here today.
That's funny. This villager gets almost no screen time. He was supposed to be like one of the stars, but no screen time. Another funny thing that you can see is right here. There's a purple wool block that was used for frame of reference. When I originally started making this, I had exactly one angle in mind. I later changed it up, but I had one angle in mind, and the side of my monitor would come just outside of that purple block's range. That's how I measured it. It was really funny.
And my good.
And oh, I love this shot. It looks so good like this.
Goodness, display entity, frame it well.
So fun. No one guessed why that candle has flames, even though it's a display entity.
Thank you for joining me today.
New video soon. Peace. Cool. We made it to the end. Funny thing to note: the painting right there is the same image as the one right. Oh my gosh, hey! Oh, you're finally awake. This one. That's so good. It's the same image, but just pixelated to 16 by 32. Isn't that cool? I think it's pretty cool. I think it's also time that we, like, get started and look at some of this in-game. What do you guys think? I think it's about time. Athletius, what did you just retract? Spider Sniper got YouTube Premium. Did you end up checking out my website? Not yet. I was really sleepy. I woke up. I saw your message. I was really sleepy, and you said website, and I like looked around for the website, and I couldn't find it. And I'm only just now realizing in my waking brain that I think it was literally the message right before that last one you sent me, and I'm stupid. Um, yeah, I'll take a peek here soon. Trust me, I will. I'll get to it when I can. Maybe not when I'm streaming. Any recommendations for small content creators? What do you mean recommendations? Recommendations for what? What sort of recommendations are you looking for? Are you looking for like software that that might interest a small content creator that would help them out when they're starting to grow? I would definitely suggest DaVinci Resolve is the best editor. You can't change my mind on that. Let's see. Do you play Minecraft, my friend? Spider Sniper? Do you play the craft? Do you mine? Do you craft? Ooh, and also, I created a new way to switch to my Minecraft channel, or my Minecraft scene in OBS. I'm just waiting for the game to boot up. Almost there. See, I told you that it takes a while to boot up. Alright. Let's get going. Cool. And that's not the right one. Oh, cool. It worked. Wait, hold on. Why is that so huge? Cool. That's good, right? Do I play Fortnite? I do. Sometimes, but not too often. I've played a little bit this season though. Very cool. Also, like, I have all of these worlds in order, but I don't really have a plan for which ones we should go to first. So, let's start out in the Infinite Farm Room. I don't really know why it's named that. It is the location where I filmed a lot of the content that has this big wall. So if we come over here, we can see that this is the actual world where I recorded all this, and you can even see the painting works in game. If I press F1, all of the white cubes disappear. That's pretty cool. Alright, I'm working on DaVinci currently, and I was on CapCut. Yes, I do play in Minecraft. Just finished transferred to Java after almost 13 years on Bedrock Edition. I learned Replay and a bit of Axiom and Lightmatica so far. Replay is good. I would strongly suggest learning Flashback. It's got a lot more power behind it. It also is kind of intuitive if you've worked with Replay. You can pretty much figure it out as you go. I didn't look up any tutorials for Flashback, and I understood everything. And that was just because I knew Replay pretty well. No, bring them back. You want the tiny ghost cubes back. So this right here is like kind of what I was talking about. You see all of these? This is my go-to kit. If I get rid of everything in my inventory and then I press X2, you can see that I have a hotbar saved that has these shulker boxes. And in these shulker boxes, I have display entities that I can use. Like, boom, I now have a double door. What if I use the other one? Well, you won't be surprised, but boom, this is just a single door frame, you know, and it's pretty cool because then I can just slap them down in places, and it won't take me any time at all to make things look kind of pretty. Except for things like this, I do have to first take something like a bed, do something like, oh, I have to turn on, there we go, cool, something like this, move it, and then you take the display entity, and, oops, oh my gosh, I'm like failing everything all at once. I think my mouse sensitivity is different than I usually have it. Rotate it into place, cool, and then you have it like that, you know, that way there's actual structure to your stuff, so it doesn't feel so weird, because like even the fact that I can walk through that feels kind of odd to me, but since I didn't interact with this in the video, I figured I could just put it off for now. Another interesting thing is you can see that this, if you look really closely, you see how like I actually have some lift, even though this is a display entity, there is carpet underneath it. And you can see that those are two different shades because we used a set light level for this carpet, which is pretty cool. Gotta go now. Sorry. No worries, Excalibur. Thank you for stopping by, and thank you for the support, man. You've been really cool lately. Really appreciate it. Tiny ghost cubes. I still like that. And then what I like to do is I grouped everything to this cube, and this cube is actually, if I select it and move it, you'll see that like, oh no, where'd the carpet go? That's because it's meant to go on top of an actual carpet. And when you do that, then it actually comes back. I love that you know what you're talking about. I'm glad I do. I just made a video on this. You want to know something that I didn't show in the video? This is really an exclusive sneak peek, and I'm really, really excited to show you this because I was so stoked when I figured it out. You'll see that I have these Bottle of Enchanting on my hotbar, and you'll, like, genuinely never guess what I use these for. I coded a quick little thing that allows me to get from scene to scene really seamlessly. And, like, I have this big wall that goes on for practically forever. If I drop this bottle, look at what it sends me in the chat. You see this? Home zone, gallery 1, 2, 3, 4. Hey, chat, ask which one do you want to go to? Do you want to go to the home zone, gallery 1, 2, 3, or 4? You can vote. Which one are we going to first? 5, nice. 2, 3. Willitronics was here first. Let's go to gallery 2. Ah, gallery 2. And yes, it did teleport us. Yes, that corresponds to each other. Like if I throw this, I can go to... Oh, did I just refresh my shaders? Cool. I can go to gallery 1. Gallery 1 is where we just were. Let me remove this. Because, boom, gallery 1. Press gallery 2. I come here. And this is the scene with the TV. Ta-da! Isn't that kind of cool? So I can teleport around my world really seamlessly. They're about 500 blocks apart each. Mainly just so I can set my render distance to something short. And then they won't appear in the distance, but it looks like Bobby is not doing its thing. Stuff like this was also really cool to make. A quick little TV shot. Unfortunately, I used like lime concrete, and when I made a green screen of this, that was just a mistake. You can see the tones are different here. It was not happy with that. So that's why the green screen scene with like Exumavoid on the TV looks a little weird. It's actually because it's a PNG that I cut out the inside and made transparent, and then I just played Exumavoid's video behind that, and I just kind of like changed the pitch and yaw a little bit. It was a little odd. But I like to add as many cute little details as I could. There's a little cup of water. Unfortunately, it doesn't show really well with shaders on. Like the water is really light. I like this little thing of bamboo. This also caused a little bit of an issue when I was green screening. I did not think at all. Like, I started being able to see Exumavoid through bamboo. This cute little lamp. Fun fact, time set night, this lamp emits actual light. And that's because, give Mr. Max Mondays light. That's because there's light source blocks. I believe this one is right here to try to make the green as uniformly lit as possible. It still didn't really work. Time set day. Is that the right time? Yeah, sure. So what's really fun is I can keep chucking these bottles and we can teleport around. If I come to gallery 3, you'll never guess what's inside gallery 3. Ta-da! This is the new... I haven't really thought of a name for it. I call it the lounge. It's the fireplace side scene. It's so uniformly lit. Hey-oh! So true. Once again, there is no such thing as a 3x2 Minecraft painting, so we used 1x1s. But this is a really fun scene that I enjoyed. There's a lot of things that you will never be able to see in the video. Like, there's a golden nugget right there. Kind of odd. Things like this enchanting bottle, since I knew that the only angle it would be seen at was when I flicked the lever. It was this angle. I made it thicker than normal, so that it would be more visible from the side. Kind of cool. There is a conduit here. That is solely just because I've needed something valuable on the hearth. And there's like a reason that I needed something valuable, but I didn't care what the valuable item was. So it's, you know, a conduit. Skeleton with a sword and skull. A lot of dead coral. I just kind of sprinkled this in because, you know, it's just like really light texturing. The tiny flower inside the bookshelf is definitely my favorite thing. And also I really like this skull. I like made it the same size as the books, and it just kind of fits snugly in there. Another really interesting fact is this fireplace is literally a lie. you'll see that this is a display entity of a polished andesite block and one of a slab that was scrunched a little bit on one axis, and then another polished andesite block, real iron bars, but fake display entity fire. Isn't that so fun? Hey, welcome back, Trial. And what's also interesting is you're probably thinking, hey, like, what about, like, the light, you know? You gotta have light somehow coming out of this fire, right? And I do. It's behind this block, because this also isn't a block. It's another transparent display entity, and there is a light block right here. If I hold this item, it should pop up. It's not, of course it's not. It actually might be right here. But it's then that's what, you know, gives it light. Pretty cool. Which even more parasocial relationship building experience. So true, so true. And then of course, if I come over here, there is a version of the studio, or wherever it is, I keep changing the name, with a lever on it. And that's of course the shot where I, like, oh, not what I meant to open. Where I'm like, oh, you know, I'm gonna show you what, and then when I click the lever. What's kind of cool is that using display entities, you can do something that, like, you don't really bat an eye at, like the fact that there is a fence in the same block as a trap door. There's a lever on the same block as a pressure plate. It's kind of just like simple things, but stuff like that is really cool. Stack overflow. Yep, my game just crashed. Let's roast them in the comments, Lance. I told you my game doesn't run like how it used to. We love the zoom avoid bamboo. True. Give me 2 minutes. It's booting back up. Absolute cinema. Yep. Well, I'm glad that I thought to put an image behind the scene. That's so funny. So you actually can look at, you know, Minecraft still. I went to the dentist today. I found out I have 15 cavities. I'm 17, by the way. That's so sad. I'm so sorry to hear that. I feel for you. I hate cavities. I had 1 or 2 filled in passing. Awful. The painting, of course, also makes a debut right here. There's really not much to see in this gallery world. If I go to Home Zone, there's, like, some experimental, paintings that I did. These didn't make their way into the video either, so I just have these now. They use the same grouping technique that I talk about, and they're a little weirder shaped, but, you know, just some variety could be kind of cool. I don't really know why I have them here of all places, but I also added command block logic, and that is what... Oops. I added some command block logic, and this is all the logic that runs my gallery teleporting abilities. Pretty cool. Logic. This kind of stuff is so cool. Thanks, Modern. Appreciate it. Recently finished design mountain range for my world. Axiom is so useful. I cannot agree more. I have that mountain range that I showed in the video. But fun fact, that was actually the 3rd draft of a mountain range that I made. Like, so I have 2 other mountain ranges just sitting on my hard drive, and I have no use for them yet. But I will use them eventually. Gotta go to bed now. Have a nice rest of the stream. Thanks, Cubel. I will. And thank you again for being so generous at the beginning. It's really kind of you and totally unnecessary, but appreciate your support, dude. And sleep well. Thank you for stopping by the stream. Yeah, I have actual mountains just sitting in a world, and I'm gonna show you guys that later. It's really fun. So it's time to actually pull pull the wool out of your eyes? I don't know the phrase. The reason that this candle can emit particles, even though it's a display entity, is really slapstick particle loop. You can see that these, oh wait, hold on, I have to get closer. You can see that these commands have, like, really specific coordinates, and they summon a single flame. And what's really funny is I should have made these local, like using tildes, but I didn't. So when I did this one down here, when I did this one down here, I had to reprogram each of these. Finding those coordinates were fun. You know what's really funny is actually what I ended up doing is I can take something like this. Let's, like, take something like red stained glass, make it, you know, oh my gosh, I cannot grab this for the life of me. Make it itty bitty, whatever. And then as long as you have this white cube on top of the wick, you can then copy coordinates. Pretty fun, huh? Pretty fun. Here's the hallway as seen. We're gonna, you know, go check it out, of course. As you get further down the hallway, these are all display entities as footboards. You can see that as the light, like, changes, having a hard set light value for these footboards becomes a little bit of a handicap. Breaks immersion a tiny bit. But what's kind of fun is I have really big light sources powering these candles, right? I have a version of these sconces. Technically, this item display was made for, if I ungroup this, if I delete that one, and let's just group all of these. This was made, actually, you know what? I'm thinking about it. I'm going to show you these chandeliers later. They're made for 2x2s. And you can actually have real candles where these fake candles are. Just for this scene alone, this hallway is 5 blocks wide. And that is a bad thing. Also, I realize now that I made a huge mistake when I grouped that all together. Oopsies. Now let's quickly grouping, ungroup children, delete, and you know what? Cool. What's a fun little thing I did is that since these are fake, I have light blocks here, but that's really fun because I was able to take like bright light blocks and then slowly diminish them as they go further away. So when you are sitting at this area, the light on the wall gets smaller and smaller and smaller as it goes away. Dude, could you start an SMP? It's so funny you're saying that. Anyways, stay to the very end for a really cool announcement. Anyways, these beautiful blocks disappear into the background, and then just to kind of cut this off a little early, I did do some glass layering. There's a layer of glass between every single one of these chandeliers, so it slowly gets blotted out. Let's see. Also, you didn't see this in the video because I made it afterwards. I was planning on adding a post-credit scene where I investigate this door that just kind of came out of nowhere. So this wasn't in the video. It might be one day. Maybe I'll add post-credit scenes, but kind of cool little lantern display entities. Once again, using light blocks because these aren't real lanterns. So if I take that off, thank you for this info, though. Love this. No worries. This is really fun to talk about, too. Once again, I have just, like, my door as, like, a modular system. So I just, like, grabbed the door and placed it there so I didn't have to build it. It really makes building go by so quick. I had a really cool idea that I could, like, do some cool jump cut where I take this display entity, where is this book? This book. Is this the book? It is, yeah. I could, like, open this up and change if it's occupied, and it would look like I took a book out of the bookshelf, but it's just a display entity. I wanted to confuse people. I don't know if I'm making sense. Do you have a Discord server? I do. I think it is in the description. I forgot what I just did. Done. Okay, cool. Other fun things to note. Notice this painting. I'm always confused. You're doing great. Thanks, Delicious. This painting is pixelated. I have, in my resource pack folder, this paint pack. I have this paint pack. I have this paint pack, and 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 this paint pack. All of those are, like, different versions of some of these same painting, so like I have a lot of these pixelated ones in there, but a couple of them also like include green screen paintings and such, and that's always cool. And I really wanted to show this off. I can, oops, I did, teehee. I really wanted to show this off, so I was talking about having trouble with the lighting earlier. There is a light block inside of this display entity, but note if I remove this green screen, right? Let's get rid of that. If I remove this green screen, there is mushroom behind this, you know? That makes sense. But the crazy thing is, this mushroom isn't real. It's also a display entity. Note the Z fighting. This is why we don't mess with Z fighting. there's glass here, and then there's light blocks inside of here, and they're both set to 11, which means that this painting is equally lit on both the top and bottom blocks, which allows us to which allows us to place paintings like this. Isn't that cool? I don't know if people, or even you yourself, realize how impressive all this is, by the way. I probably don't. I'm sorry, I'm so confused on keyboard clickety clacks. It's pretty fun. You should make Hogwarts with teleporting doors. Oh, I like the idea of teleporting doors. That's pretty cool. Particles aren't exclusive to command blocks. There are many ways to display them using scripts. Yeah, I honestly should have coded a really quick and dirty data pack to run these right there, but you know, it's like I was just doing it for like aesthetic shots. It's really not for any purpose, so I didn't think I needed to take it so seriously. Onward. There's so much more to show. All right, where should I begin? I think it's time to show the mansion. Actually, I love the mansion. So this is fun. This is, of course, the place where I filmed the scene where the camera is slowly pulling back. However, this is the wrong resource pack, as I mentioned, and I did operate solely off of memory. I think it's 4.4. Let's find out. It is not. Okay. It might be 2. Paint 2. Gotta go. Gotta keep packing for vacation. Well, have a great vacation trial. Thank you for stopping by. Don't pay attention to the green screens. But, yeah, this is the shot with the painting. The camera slowly pulls back, and then my character walks up and starts talking to it. A lot of fun things. This is the 3rd draft of this hallway that I made. A lot of cool little details that don't get shown in the video, of course. But that's okay, because I really enjoyed the creation of this anyways. Something that's kind of interesting is this is the older draft, and look, the paintings are really different. They are just stripped blocks with, I think, flattened full blocks, so like that's why the graphics are so smushed. And you know, I eventually started like playing around with display entities more and realizing I could do more impressive things in less time. And I was like, I could just redo all of this entirely. The one thing I did keep is this chandelier, and you can see this now. This chandelier has real candles, so actual candles doing actual in-game lighting. Excuse me, I just had to burp. Don't mind me. I just heard a ding. I think that means someone subscribed. Very cool. I was planning on, you know that scene where I was like, this is a sketch and I slapped the sketch down? Originally, that's what this scene was going to be for. I was going to slap the sketch down, and then I realized that there is no 3x2 Minecraft paintings that I could replace with a sketch. I could have done like a 2x2 and a 1x1, but the editing between that would have been really annoying. This is where the inception of the book and quill on the table came from. And of course, these paintings just randomly appear everywhere. This itself was a second draft. This was actually the first draft, and I had this really cool table here that I eventually removed just so I could show the hoe in the basement scene with like the papers and stuff. There's like a hoe on the wall. So I removed this one from this scene, but this was a kind of cool display stand that I really enjoyed making. And we're back. Welcome back, Slimum. This is largely inspired by Skyrim, of course. I've been playing Skyrim so much lately, and their little weapon display cases. It's literally this. But if I fly out here, you'll see that there is this area over here, this checkerboard. This is where I kind of started my idea of like making a library for display entities. I have all of these groups that I can just grab these and plop these down wherever I want. I started making these before I thought of the idea of grouping them to a block that is automatically aligned just by placing them. So they're a little behind, but, you know, they're not too bad. Over here, you can see a couple of the sconces I made. That was the original sconce that I talked about. But I tried to make a ton of these other ones, trying to make a more interesting one using those assets, and I just don't like how smushed all the textures look, and I started trying to make different kinds of sconces, like a hopper and an anvil. Really simple, and really cool because it adds a little lip to this candle itself. I also like wanted to play around with like these blocks, these frames clip into the walls, obviously, just so that it doesn't mess up the 2 pixels that are visible on the far left, right? But I wanted to play around with like ideas where what if you did smush it so it was just 2 pixels wide? And then I also had these hard set as a light level, and I was like, you know what, these are just bad, and this is eventually what led to me making the actual pretty paintings that you saw in the video. Another fun thing, I was just talking to some of the lads on WaveTech the other day, and I was showing off some of the display entity stuffs, and while we were talking and I was scooping around, I just put this on the side. I think I would use this to like make a teapot. Imagine if you take this and slide it a little more, like something like that, you know, like that's kind of a cute little teapot design. Anyways, I'm getting distracted. Inside here is the very first hallway scene I made before I started moving them over there and organizing them by height. And inside here is the very, very, very first time I started playing with display entities in Lightmatica. Axiom. I gotta go now. Pretty late. We'll be talking more about the SCP comment on your Discord. Will do. Yes, I will release an announcement. That's provided I can get what I wanted to get done tonight done. So, like, there's a little bit of a stipulation. We're gonna see when stream ends, but, like, I will, yeah, if there is any news to be noted, I will note the news. You have my promise. Thank you, Warfox, for stopping by the stream. Really appreciate it, man. Have a good day. Anyways, what was I saying? Oh, yeah, this was the very first display entity I put down in this world. That one, right there. Actually, no, that's wrong. That's wrong. I think it was that one. And then that one was the first non-map one. And I did choose maps for this parchment paper because it looked better than just like the stark white paper. Another really fun fact is you can hide things like chains or even barrier blocks inside these. And it makes it so they actually have a hitbox. I physically cannot walk inside this, you know? And that kind of adds a little more realism. You even see that for a brief moment in the video when the shot is like this. It's like looking down this angle. My avatar runs through here, and I think he hits either this chain or he bounces on this ladder a little bit. In retrospect, I should have made this ladder a display entity too. But like for a brief moment, he bounces, and then he just keeps walking like nothing happened. What's really fun is that's a real candle. So that's a center of a block. Isn't that weird? It's not really the center of the block. There's like triple candles, I think, here. So, this is like, this chiseled bookshelf is a real block, but everything else around it is display entities, but it only reveals one. It's so cursed. And then, of course, here's the scene with the hoe that I mentioned. I think we should continue. Oh, just really quickly. Cool shot, cool little diorama, blue skies, green grass, and some clippings of yellow wool. I think I'm going to continue the scene in my void assets world. This is a world where if I needed an empty backdrop for green screen purposes or for just normal visuals, then this is where I would go to. And this is about the shot where it opened in the intro. Is that right? I think that's right. You know what's really funny is I even calculated, I was like January, February, March, April, and then if I had 3 lines, that means May would be right here, and actually did the math. There's a couple really cool shots I'll show you in DaVinci Resolve later. There's a lot of cut content where I did like first passes, and I used Flashback. Flashback has the ability to render the sky any single color, so I've rendered it as a flat green. Or actually, I think it was blue for this one because the green meshed with this. And I recorded me talking like this, and then I took the exact same coordinates and pasted it in the flashback, or pasted it in the world with the mountains, and when I reloaded the chunks, they loaded behind my character while my character was in the world. I can show that shot later. But it's like, it was really fun. I think actually this diamond block and these snow layers help indicate where that exact point was. I think this was the angle, and then 30 FOV, yeah. So with those ferns in the corner, that was the angle. And what's really cool is at the time of this being made, I of course didn't make the wagon and everything yet, and I didn't have that villager plan. So this stump right here actually represents the villager. And in some shots, very rarely in some shots, you could see a stump also like in that kind of area in the painting, and that represented the telephone pole that I still planned to make, and then I ended up ditching that entirely. Seeing the behind the scenes make a lot of the shot designs make sense. This is really cool. I'm glad you're enjoying. Yeah, I'm having a fun time explaining. Unfortunately, I couldn't like make a bigger stage for me to talk on because there was a lot of biome manipulation in the actual mountain world, and it was just a pain to try to recreate in any other world. But I wanted to show you this right here. This is how I did a very particular favorite shot of mine. So I can recreate it almost perfectly. Oh, did you hear the chains for a second there? Yep, right there. Wait, there's... Make the sound. Make the sound. There we go. I would take the book, right? Let's put it right there. I would take the book. I walked over. I placed the book. I then moved to an empty hand. Opened... Nope, wait. Okay, I didn't move to an empty hand. I lied to you just then. Opened it up. And when I did that, since I open it up, your mouse, no matter where you open it up from, always is in the same spot. I knew that I had the perfect place to make a jump cut, despite those candles giving it away. Also, really quickly, this paper has a hopper pinning it to the door, or into the door frame. That's kind of funny. But so I placed it, opened it up, and as soon as I opened it up, TP tilde 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 dash or not dash, negative 52. Now watch the light level change. You see how it got a little brighter? Just a tiny bit. But you couldn't really notice that because I then opened the book in this scene. And when I opened the book in this scene, I cut it to this exact frame where my mouse was, where it is right now. Then I scroll through all of those, of course, to exit it. But like literally this scene is just destroyed. You can see the other one is 52 blocks that way. But this one is the scene where everything is just like shattered. So if I like stood right here and I type that teleportation command again, but remove the negative, I'm back here at this one. So I can like literally just... Isn't that awesome? So cool. Coolest scene? I agree. I really enjoyed that one. But I think that's enough of those two scenes. And is there anything else in my void world that's worth seeing? Stone platform, pretty cool. I think there was a herald around here. Where was he? There he is. Let's go pay our respects. Hello, herald. Anyways, okay, let's move on to the next world. Let's see. Let's go from back. Let's go to the first world I made and then slowly work our way forwards. How about that? So like I have delete world, empty land, delete world. Let's see, display entity command tests. Where would it be? Where would it be? I think it would be in blank white world. Axiom axis. I think blank white world is where it's at. Yes, it is. This is where I filmed all of these scenes, where I just had like some cool wool and I just like put some display models down. That's because, you know, there's more over here. But I did do some other type of building. This is... It's so crazy that I made this and that I never actually put it in the video, but you're about to get a really fun exclusive look. Hold on, let's load it up. My computer, gotta give my computer a second. Ladies and gentlemen, this was the better mountain. Look at that. I made this in preparation for making the other mountainscape. But I think I kind of like this one a little better now. Really fun to make. The shading is really cool. It goes from mud to dark blue terracotta to light blue terracotta. Pretty cool. There is nothing to note here. These trees, all custom, pretty cool. Cute little ones. Nothing too special. I did, if I open up my Axiom stuffs right here. Not trees. I got all these spruce trees. Not those spruce trees, hold on. Willotronics Mega Blueprints. Willotronics is in here, hey buddy. Spruce trees. Oh, right here. I have like large ones, medium ones, small ones, and then tiny, tiny ones. And that's kind of funny. That's a much nicer IMO. The mountain range is super impressive. Imagine you made it using Axiom. Indeed, but I can see why it didn't fit with the build. Yeah, yeah. I like this one a little bit better, but I think the other one is still true to the type of biome I was trying to recreate. We need an Axiom settings reveal. How do you get yours to be transparent? Well, I'm glad Willatronics is in the chat. Willatronics created the theme for this. It's been a while since I've changed my theme. Will, help me out. So what you would like to do is there is a place to enter in. I forget the first window, but there's a place where you can enter in essentially a code, and I don't know how, but the code relates to like a color palette for the menus, and Will made one that makes everything white, but when you pop the windows out of, like, you can have them like clip in, right? Like it would fill in that automatically. But if you pop them out and move them with pixel perfect intent. Oh my gosh, one more. It's literally one pixel off. There we go. And if you line it with pixel perfect intent, you would then go to window, store current layout as default, and then it will permanently save this screen for you to have as your default Axiom. It's very nice. I am everywhere, truly, truly. So yeah, I also tested with some crazy colors. Didn't really work. I think there's something over here. Oh yeah, I was doing a test with terrain, and using noise to dictate the height of trees, but it really didn't work out as well as I hoped because I did it on too small of a scale, and also I didn't freeze the saplings from growing, so they just kind of started growing, and it was bad. So let's move on. Let's move on to Empty Land, which is, of course, the mountain range that was shown in the video, however, without the wagon. And we could poke around this a little bit, because this world has a lot of really interesting tidbits of information. Alright, so, as you can see, a majority of the color changes that I employed here are from the biome painter. That is a very cool tool in Axiom. And I use a ton of different biomes with various gradients and stuff. I had a cool little chart that showed all the grass types and all of their different shades and different stages of dryness. I then used, like, eyeballed the chart to kind of make different plots of different colored grass that I like, because I really like this grass texture. I wish it was a little more random and chaotic, but with the upcoming 1.21 dry grass blocks, I think we're going to have really interesting alternatives to fields like this. What's really cool is I also made these cool little, like, vineyards. They're really not impressive, and intentionally so. I needed something quick and dirty because at the very beginning of the project, I set these 2 diamond blocks because I never use diamond blocks in a build. So if they're visible, something is wrong. That's not true. I sometimes use them, but they're, like, good where they are. And also the right amount of snow slabs. And if I stand in this corner, this was the angle. Let's up my chunks a little bit. If I sit at this angle, put the ferns in the corner, that is the right angle, you know? Sorry, I didn't realize I was sounding condescending. I was trying to explain why particles aren't really possible for Axiom to be great, but sadly not in the cards right now. Knowing Axiom, Mulberry is crazy. I would never have expected him to even make creating display entities a thing, and look at him go. I kind of wish that I didn't clean this build up as much as I did. Note that the entire build has, like, these walls around it. It's all hollow. This is what the inside looks like. Kind of sick. The underside is really cursed. And there's even a few places where light even peeks through. But something I didn't show in the video is I have this, like, secret laboratory down here. If I turn off shaders, which I will later when we join the world that actually has the wagon, this was a laboratory where I kind of, like, created a lot of things in a blank area, and it was really helpful. I even, like, then stored them in the, like, hallways, you know, so I had, like, my different wheel drafts, and over here I have, like, different glass pane drafts, and also just, like, as a heads up, Let's see how many entities there are right now. 2,162. And I'm still cruising at that's a normal FPS for me, by the way. I know. That's just how it is. my PC took a pretty big beating when I moved back to the West Coast. Hi, Glory Now, fan. Welcome to the stream. Well, yeah, absolutely insane dev work. He said himself he can't do particles though. Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, I'm deferring to you. I trust you, Corinne Dev. Corinne Dev. That's kind of cool. Cool name. Really like it. Let's see. Let's go to the actual wagon world now. I think that would be kind of fun. Where is it? It's living quarters. Because I originally planned to create the wagon in stages, and maybe even planned on making an interior. Once I realized how much work was going into this, though, I realized that an interior wouldn't be possible in a single video. So I had display world empty, display world where I created the wheels and like the bottom of the chassis. And then I started the living quarters one, and it was halfway through this world that I realized, oh, I should probably, not do an interior. That would be terrible. Alright. So let's join. Oh, I'm so stoked to see this again. I love looking at this. So before we look at it too closely, notice how this is still here, but at this point I was also playing with different angles, and this is another one. This is also another one. It says use 40 FOV, so if I like zoom in and then go to 40, I thought this was a nice angle. Villager is here. You can't really see this in the video, but he's got a little composter wheelbarrow that has some carrots and potatoes, even though neither carrots nor potatoes show up in any of these fields. Where did he get the carrots and potatoes? Who are you? Fun fact, when I summoned this villager, I, turned his AI off, so he is brain dead. I am sorry. But fortunately, I could set his rotation and pitch, so he was like looking towards the wagon. What's funny is he actually is kind of looking not where I would be looking if I were a viewer. I made him look a little further off because when it came to this angle, having him look in front of the wagon made him look much more regal, in my opinion. You could see a little bit more of the side of his head and such. Where should I start with this wagon? Oh my gosh, bro is a vegetable carrying from vegetables. Brutal but true. He didn't have to do him like that. He's already got a tough life, man. Alright, so let's take a closer peek at this wagon. I'm so excited to actually be able to show this now. So I'll start from the bottom. I have out here a little bar of soap on a cauldron where I've done my laundry. Fun fact, before I became black and white, my skin had a red shirt and blue pants. So this is a little nod to my original character. The wagon a long time ago drove over a sapling, broke it in half. How sad. And as you can see, this build is made solely for the purpose of a painting, right? It's made for this angle. So that allowed us to do a lot of really creative things when it came to making it look good for the angle. Like, it looks good from this angle, it looks good from this angle, but if I go around to the other side, not a lot. Like these sunflowers themselves are also floating, and they're mainly made just so that they look good from this angle. It's kind of crazy. Pulling back the curtains a lot here. Let's increase our flight speed just a tiny bit. Alright, so there's a lot here that's real and a lot here that's not. A couple of fun things that I did. This is mainly polished tough. Love using that. Don't get to use that a lot in WaveTech, so I took advantage of that here. Threw in some random blocks like a copper grate. Kind of looks cool. And also the underside of like a shulker box. I don't know where that block is. Let's try to find it. It's got to be around here somewhere. There it is. Yeah, the side of a shulker box right there. Really nice texture. And this dead coral to kind of show a little bit of decay, a little bit of rust, a little bit of age. Things like this lever are real. Things like these tripwire hooks are not. These are floating. Some of these blocks here are real. Some of these blocks are not. This door, real. These ladders, real. These ladders, real. This ladder, real. This trapdoor, not. Like, it's really interesting balance because I wanted like a ladder to be in this scene, and I needed a trapdoor as well, so the display entity acts as a trapdoor, and the door just sits on top of the ladders. I also did some fun things, like these rails are real, but they're also twisted at a unnatural angle, of course. Fun things like just leaving actual player tools laying around makes it feel a little more lived in. I wanted this place to look like it's been sitting here for a while. I had some grass growing around the wheels, showing that it's like nature is reacting to its presence here. Fun fact, if I blow the horn, it's an actual horn. If he honks at you, you're gonna get your ears blasted because that is a giant horn. It's quite literally a set piece. That's so neat. Exactly, yeah. Do you ever think you'll be able to draw a line when it comes to attention to detail? No. I'm really enjoying actually trying to, like, outdo myself, you know? I think it'd be really fun to make the next video even bigger and better. These windows are so cool. Like I mentioned earlier, these are made out of glass panes. And what's really exciting is you can make a big sheet of glass panes, group them all together, and then just compress them on one axis, and it makes them into diamonds. But that's not all you can do, because if I come down here, and I think this is the time where we disable our shaders, so we can get full bright. You see these giant glass windows? These were some of the drafts. As you can see, this is the eventual final draft, very small compared, but if I were to take something like this, place it down, and I believe the white is on top in our build, I then take this red one, boom. Isn't that awesome? It's a really clever little way to make some stained glass windows. And then, of course, you just like outline it with blocks. But what's really cool is you can also change the opacity of the windows simply by grabbing it, duplicate. I don't know why I was copying it. You can just duplicate it as where it sits, and it makes it a little more opaque. You see that? It's a tiny bit more opaque. Duplicate, 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 duplicate. Now they're just like straight up solid blocks. Yeah, that's like one of the methods you could do. Holy Z fighting. But I also like tried with like, you know, more colorful stained glass windows, just trying weird patterns and such. But eventually this really simple pattern is really what sold me. But of course, since I didn't want to be able to see inside the empty caravan, there is just full blocks behind it. Also, bye Andy, thank you for stopping by. Now you have 2 million entities. Honestly, if I told myself if I started lagging in this world, and I fortunately never really came to that point, the first place I would start is like clearing out the wheels. I got a few grouping tests done over here. I got all of these, which just are like thousands of entities. There's like a lot of things that I could have cleared up first to save a little bit more time and frames. Some interesting stuff like sideways stairs were used to create these fun indents in the end shot with shaders on. Those look like they create a weird frame. It's really fun. And if you want to see more official shots and such like this, feel free to join the Discord. I'm about to change up the layout. And I should have some like HD shots in a like quote unquote spoilers channel where I'll post updates of projects I'm working on. There is a few more things I wanted to show. I'm trying to recall what they are. I mean, there's really cute things like this allium compressed in a pot. This was a pain in the butt because it had to be grouped to a block that was not part of anything else because it was clipping into this oak block and it was getting plotted out, and it bypassed most of my like scans to see if anything was wrong with my content, and then I was like, oh, I have to re-render this scene. The freaking allium is blotted out. It was a pain in the butt. Also, like, building this makes you really appreciate the creative menu a lot more. Just as you're scrolling through it, you can, like, see all of these blocks in a new light. Any of these can be something different now. It's so, like, liberating. I don't know how else to explain it. Putting stuff like scrolling through, I saw these warped roots, and I was like, these are awesome. I wonder where I could use these. And I literally just this is the first place I tried them. I was like, oh, I love that. You can just add, in LEGO, we call it greebling. I think in a lot of hobbyist fans, hobbies, I guess you call it greebling. It's when you add all that like little technical detail, a little bit of technical jargon. Like these windows don't do anything, but they're still there. Fun fact, these windows are actually made out of ice rather than glass. I've always liked ice more than normal glass. It's a shame though, because ice will melt if you have any light near it. This is a real lever. This is a real lever. This sandstone block is not. I tried playing around with copper lightning rods, but they were terrible. They were terrible. They clashed super hard with the lights, and so I actually just like created a fake little one right there. I made it so quick, and I was like, you're fine. Uh, am I speaking too fast? Is there any questions? I feel like I'm kind of going pretty fast, but if there's any questions or if you want to take a closer look at any one thing, I'd love to go a little slower. One of my personal favorite spots is this area up here. A lot of weird texturing going on with mostly real blocks. Again, the back of the sunflowers have like a couple spruce buttons. Pretty cool. Makes it feel a little more filled out. Oh, and this stem right here gets thickened out a little bit by a floating small drip leaf block. So it's kind of fun because from like back here you don't really notice it, but it adds a little bit of depth. Kind of fun. And of course these two antennae on top. This candle isn't real. It's a display entity that's rotated 45 degrees, and these are little stone pressure plates just sitting in it. Kind of fun. Kind of fun. Oh, something interesting to note is that I pointed out that this window is opaque. You can't see through it. However, I'm thinking of a million things at once. However, this one isn't opaque, and you can see through it. However, I just threw in a couple bookshelves here and some lichen to add a little bit of a glow to make those visible from a distance, but it's not too overwhelming or too undetailed, you know? And another interesting thing is that, yeah, these are two leads. However, these are display entities as composters. Now, why is that? That's because despite having, if you go to video settings, quality, entity distance, I have it set to 500%. I can see entities 5 times further away than normal. However, leads don't follow that rule for some reason. So when I got really far back, the part of the lead that was attached to the fence just disappeared. So in a weird turn of events, using this composter was my substitute for the knot that the lead is holding on to. Also, you can do funny things like filling up a composter so it's not actually like an empty barrel. And this composter is also a tiny bit bigger, so it overlaps the actual lead knot when you're close. Actually, a tiny bit bigger than the lead knot. How did you decide when to use a real block versus using a display entity? As a viewer, some of them make sense, but others seem a little arbitrary. It is a little arbitrary. Things like this texture right here is not achievable on the side of a block. That's the bottom of a sandstone stair, which is like a full cracked sandstone texture. Really cool stuff that you can only do on either flat planes. You either like the roof or the floor. You can't do it on the walls, but stuff like this I was able to do on the walls. So obviously something like that would be a display entity. But also I kind of just went based off flow. Most of this started out as just like flat sandstone textures, and then as I went along and I got to the place where I was adding, texturing blocks like this, I tended to throw in a few blocks that I knew would be a pain in the butt to try to position. So basically, it would take me more time to place the block naturally than I would use a display entity. It would take more time to use a display entity, use a natural block. I feel like I'm talking really fast and not making a lot of sense, but I hope I am. I really like these iron bars too. They added a little more vertical support, and I really enjoyed that. The first draft of this was a little rough. I wonder if I can find it again, because I saved the wheels test. If we look at the chassis at first, you can see that it was like a lot squatter. It was a lot fatter, kind of weird. But not this latest one. This latest one had a much better undercarriage, in my opinion. Let's see. I have a couple other worlds. The mansion, infinite farm room, I showed all those. The delete worlds. Oh, I do want to show the delete world. Wonder if I should make a whole display for that. I don't think I will, but we'll do it anyways. Actually, wait, I don't need the backup anymore. That's so cool. I'll do this on the backup. Oh, this is so fun. Here, I'll show you live how I did that last time lapse. So I first came under here. You'll see that we have a couple command blocks. Set block, tilde, 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 red, wool. Cool. That is now primed. These command blocks have execute as the nearest player, fill basically my feet and my legs with air, and this is kill any entity that's within 2 blocks of the player. So I would come up to something like this, start recording, of course, that's really important, and then to prime the thing, I would put redstone instead of red wool. And now, if I fly near some of these display entities, you'll see that it kills them. And it's replacing the real drip leaf stem blocks. And it's also replacing the display entities, of course, killing them all. So I just then flew through all of this, a little more methodically than I am right now. I'm doing a little quickly. This is fun. And I'll have to recreate the difficulty at the very end. But I would fly through very meticulously, and I'm getting all of this on flashback. What really sucks is this last little bit right here was really hard, because I had to get so close to the ground. Oh, like that. But not actually clip the ground. Let's frickin' go. I'm going to just clear out all of these first. As you can see, I did this one wrong. When I did it by myself, I actually went back and retried it. Very cool. Oh, I forgot about the rabbit. Oh my gosh, I do have more to show. And then we will finish recording. Call this Bingus. Save replay. Save and quit the title. Come here. Go to Bingus. Open replay. The world last being edited at 4 a.m. is crazy. Yeah, my sleep schedule's a little scuffed. So then what I would do, and I can just kind of play this backwards, is I put a time lapse in the negatives, essentially. I recorded a time lapse and then I reversed it. And backwards, it would just place all the blocks instead of removing them like we just did. Isn't that so sick? That was a really fun shot. The poor rabbit. Sorry. Oh yeah, that's the other thing. I think it would be really fun during this stream to rename the entities. There's a rabbit in here to create this little lead going back and forth, and there's a chicken right here. What should we name the chicken? I think we should have a custom name for the chicken, and I have decided already. He's not here. He already went to bed, but Cubel was really cool and donated it at the beginning of the stream. So I'm going to name this Q. And where is that wabbit? Oh, there you are, wabbit. Q. There you are. Very cool. So that one's named after Cubel. What are we thinking we name the chicken? We should name the chicken something. Oh, and you know what's kind of fun, while you guys are thinking about that, is this chicken, I found out pretty quickly that even though his AI is turned off, he still lays eggs. He lays eggs, and underneath these carpets and these path blocks is a tiny little chicken farm. And ever since I discovered that he lays eggs, he has collected, let me turn off Tinker, 16 eggs. Greg, Infoman, you're the first person to comment. We're calling him Greg with a period. Greg. Thank you, Greg. And thank you, Infoman, for the info. The other entity, unfortunately, is a boat. So he doesn't get a name tag. The last little thing that I thought was kind of interesting is there was a lot of times where it got really overwhelming working with all of the really bright display entity cubes, these little gizmos. So what I ended up doing is a lot of times I would have stuff like these wheels grouped to something separate. And it's also apparently grouped to something underground. I would have it grouped to something separate. And then what's really cool is since I have it grouped to a thing that won't be visible, I had this totem in the back, this pillar of concrete and wool. And if I have the group of this wool selected, I can then come to this concrete, right click, and it will automatically move all the display entities back to where it should be. It's very fun, very fun. And of course I did that for a lot of things, including if I were to move this over here just really quickly and take this grouping, let's ungroup children, take this guy. Give me 1 second, guys. This should only take a moment. Grouping, range, like a lot, I don't know. And then let's take something like, oh wait, no, I want this one. You come here. Grouping. Perfect. You come here. And lastly, you come back. And see, by staying this kind of organized, this level, and this dedication, having this amount of structure around your world, you are then able to like grab something like this, and you could totally separate the chassis or the undercarriage from something like the top half, which I could just like move around. And if I strip it naked of all the display entities, we could see what is actually real, which is not a lot. It's mostly up in this area up here, and some other stuffs, of course, like the leads and all that real stuff. But you can see that a lot of this is display entities. But what's really interesting is that neither of these look good by themselves. It's really the marriage of the two building styles that really makes it come together, in my opinion. And I'm really pleased with this. It really did turn out way better than I hoped, or could have hoped. And it's really fun that we now have this huge background. I don't really know what I'm going to use this for, but someday I can use this for something else, right? Because it looks good from different angles. And it's really a lovely time. Really lovely time. Ladies and gentlemen, I believe that I am getting closer to wrapping up stream here. Is there any questions? Is there any concerns or anything you'd like to know or poke at and look at it a little closer? I do have a really fun announcement to make, so I really want to be in my chair when that happens. Let's go to Gallery 3. What did I use for the gradient of the mountains? Mud to blue to light, or yeah, mud to blue to light blue terracotta. That is the gradient. Very simple stuff. But ladies and gentlemen, I made a promise a long time ago to my Discord that as soon as this video came out, I would finally cave to their demands and work on setting up a Minecraft server. And I think I'm actually going to finally get that started. It's just going to be a boring SMP. There's literally going to be no infrastructure, just an SMP world. People can log in, people can do whatever they want. I'm hoping to kind of like adhere to the spirit of Hermitcraft. Maybe a little more communistic if people want to work together. I would love that if there was like a central storage and people were all friends. I'm gonna try to be working on a way to make sure that backups are consistent in case people get griefed and stuff like that. Know that if you join, I have no way of ensuring that everything is going to stay, no way of ensuring that everything is going to run okay. This is the first time I've ever done something like this, but I'm really thrilled to finally get Mr. Max Monday's SMP started. I'm going to call it the SMMP, and I'm hoping to get it set up within the next 24 hours. So if you are interested in that sort of thing, stay tuned to the community tab or my Discord. Both places will have an announcement as well as the IP as soon as I get that set up, and I'm hoping tomorrow we could even stream the first few hours of the server being up. Could be kind of fun. But we have a few more questions here. Finally put those command blocks to use, truly. What did you use for the grading of the mountains? Oh wait, I answered that. What is the inspiration for the library and the study place? I don't know. That's a really funny question. I kind of pulled this just out of my longing. You know, like it would be so nice to one day own a home with a big stone fireplace and big comfy couches that you can just sit in and tell stories or something if you have someone to tell stories to. Like this is just kind of the aesthetic and warmth that I would love to have in my own home. So that's kind of where I got the inspiration for this. Of course, there's like a couple other things. I think this video is pretty. Made it pretty obvious that like I'm working on other stories behind the scenes that like a broader narrative that kind of overlaps. There were some people saying like, oh, that's so stupid, and I'm like, yeah, but it's like fun. So we're gonna keep doing that, and of course this place has a place in that story, in that broader narrative. But that's all I'll say right then. Oh, it's so weird being able to walk through a lot of this. This is why I strongly suggest when you're building with display entities, you occasionally check to see, is there any real block that I can add that would give this a little more structure? I think that's a good thing to do. What are your ideas for your future videos? Well, I have a couple, and one that I would really like to try is BDE. It's a software that you can design really cool display entity stuffs, but it, you know, it's a little different. It's online. It looks like kind of a 3D editing software like Blender. I'm pretty familiar with Blender, so that would be kind of nice. And as you can see, I'm starting to do the parkour thing that people do. I'm thinking of maybe trying out BDE. It'd be kind of cool. And maybe compare, like, not necessarily like competitively compare, but see what use cases BDE can serve that Axiom may not serve so well, and vice versa. There's like a lot of cool, interesting points, and it would be really interesting to see if they both do capture different use cases, and then being good at both of them would be a huge bonus. Redstone Lamp 08, welcome to the stream. You came at a really good time. We are literally ending stream. I've heard of it before. Seems like an interesting site. Yeah, it doesn't seem too bad. It could be interesting. But ladies and gentlemen, I believe that for now, I am going to be wrapping up the stream. I cannot thank you all enough for the love and support the latest video got. Genuinely, it has been insane. Last I checked, we were sitting at 90,000 views for the video. Couple thousand subscribers from it. Like, I'm so genuinely grateful that I have the community and the audience that I do. I really don't deserve it. I know that I let a lot of people down with how long I didn't post videos, but I'm really glad to be back up and posting. So I hope that you guys are excited for some of the stuff that we're going to be making together, because I'm feeling pretty good. I'm feeling creative. I got the juices flowing. I got the desire to play the game again. It's a good time. But that is all I have planned for. No, it's not worth the wait, man. What's not worth the wait? Video? Oh, I'm so sorry. You let no one down. Oh, I let myself down, Ryan. I let myself down. But thank you all so much for stopping by. Again, it was a really lovely day. I'm sorry that the stream cut halfway through. The power died. How real is it that when I was talking about the lightning effect I did in the video, a storm knocked my power out? That's just hilariously ironic. And take it from someone who takes forever. Oh, thank you, Ryan. I appreciate it. And I'm glad that you enjoyed the video again, man. Or like enjoyed the video and are sticking around again is what I mean. But I am wrapping up just because, you know, I'm pretty hungry. I'm gonna go make some food. I really appreciate you all sticking around. Discord in the description. New video, hopefully soon. I don't know when, but hopefully soon. We'll see. Again, appreciate it, everyone. Much love. I don't have an ending screen, so I'm literally just gonna end stream. Goodbye, all. Have a lovely rest of your day, everyone.